Hello and good evening. My name is Ian Diamonds. Tonight's top story. A local man attempted to shoot an armadillo last night, which resulted in the tragic ricochet, harming his mother-in-law. Although she was reported to be fine, he said that she was, and I quote, a little shell-shocked.
Shell-shocked.
But more on that later. First, are you bored?
Yeah, I'm bored.
Feeling like your life isn't meeting up to your standards?
I wouldn't go that far.
Do you want to gain honor for your family?
My mom and dad love me, okay?
Are you looking to gain powerful heroes and incredible constructs?
That sounds really cool.
If so, then allow me to introduce you to Ascension.
Ascension?
What?! Ascension is a deck-building tabletop game designed by Gary Games. In the game, players take on the role of great leaders struggling to unite a realm in great turmoil, as quoted in its instructions. A game can have anywhere from 1 to 4 players, with even more if an expansion is added, and usually lasts around 30 minutes.
Well, how do we play?
To start a game, each player must be given a deck containing 8 apprentices, as denoted by the name at the top of the card, and 2 militia. This will make up a player's starting deck, but don't worry, we're going to be adding to it as the game goes on. For now, though, shuffle up those 10 cards, draw 5 of them face down, and this will be your starting hand. The turn breakdown is as follows, and usually you can follow along with the pictured box that should be on your game board. Step 1. Play cards from your hand to gain runes, as denoted by a gray to white triangle, power, as denoted by a red circle with a sword going through it, and honor, as denoted by a black star. Using runes, you can acquire heroes and constructs from the center row and place them in your discard pile. You can also use the power you have gained in order to defeat monsters and acquire honor. Once you end the turn, send all cards used and unused from that turn to the discard pile, and then draw 5 new cards from your personal deck. Let's say you are interested in purchasing this hero, Wolf Shaman. This card would cost you 3 runes, which would then be depleted from your resources, and then would be placed in your discard pile. Now, the next time you shuffle your discard pile back into your personal deck, and you draw Wolf Shaman, you can then play it in order to gain 1 rune and draw a card. There are a couple general rules that we need to cover before we can begin playing the game, so I'm going to go ahead and take the time to cover those right now. First, if at any time your personal deck is empty and you need to draw a card or reveal a card from the top of your deck, reshuffle your discard pile in to replenish your deck. Remember, cards that you have played during this turn do not go to the discard pile until the very end of your turn. Second, whenever a card leaves the center row, replace it immediately from the center deck. This happens before anything else occurs. Anytime a player is making a decision, there should be at least 6 cards in the center row. In addition to the center row, which as we mentioned before, is the area where monsters, heroes, and constructs reside, there are also 3 other options that are always available to a player. First, they may spend 2 runes to gain a heavy infantry. Next, they may spend 3 runes to gain a mystic. Finally, they may spend 2 power in order to kill the cultist and gain 1 honor. This picture shows a pretty good representation summing up what we've talked about so far. The game board will look a lot like this at the beginning of the game. Your center deck will be on the left side, with the void underneath it, where monsters that have been defeated, or cards that have been banished from your hand, go. The honor pool will remain above it, containing red, which represent 5 honor, and white, which represent 1 honor. The center row will contain heroes, constructs, and monsters. On the right side of this, you will have the mystics, the heavy infantries, and the cultists that are always available throughout the game. Each player will have a starting hand of 5 cards, and their personal deck will have 5 cards at the beginning of the game.
So Ian, I noticed that the cards are different colors. Why is that?
I'm glad you asked. You see, there are 4 factions in the Ascension universe. Mechana, which tend to associate itself with constructs and effects that influence them. Void, which tend to have effects that involve banishing cards or gaining power. Lifebound, which tend to have effects that gain honor for you. Or Enlightened, which tend to draw cards.
So how does the game end?
That's another good question. The game ends whenever a certain amount of honor has been earned, depending on the number of players. For 2 players, that number is 60 honor, while for 6 players, that number can go as high as 180 honor. Once this much honor has been removed from the honor pool, the game ends as soon as every player has finished their round.
So how do I know I beat everyone?
Well, at game's end, Whenever the honor pool has been depleted and everyone has been allowed to take one last turn, players will then count the number of honor sitting in their individual pile. Then, they will take that number and add the total honor value for each card in their deck. This number can be found at the bottom left of each of their cards. Some cards, such as the Apprentice or the Militia, are not worth any honor value, while other cards, like the Wolf Shaman that we talked about earlier, is worth 1 honor at the end of the game. Once those two numbers are added together, the player with the most total honor is the winner. If multiple players have the same number of honor points, then the last player to start wins. In other words, the starting player will lose all ties, the second player will lose ties to third and fourth place, and so on and so forth.
Wow, Ascension, thank you so much. My life no longer sucks.
Woo! And with that, dear viewer, I must bid you farewell. Whether Mechana, Enlightened, Void, or Lifebound, good luck and good fight. Because win or lose, it isn't about the result, but it's about the Ascension!